Well, greetings, everybody. Glad to see you out there. Glad to be seen. Welcome to the weekly financial roundtable and Qnity, where money isn't the most important thing in life, but it is like oxygen on the gotta have it scale. So I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm your host, whether you're listening to this live or whether you're watching this on YouTube. We're glad you're with us. I'm from Qnity. Our mission is to help individuals and teams prosper, which would mean earning great money, doing what you love, and having a great quality of life. Using an approach where we're able to move from complexity, being overwhelmed and confused, to a clearer path towards prosperity, whatever it looks like for you. Using the new rules, which are simple, visual, and actionable. And remember to prosper, manage your ATM, your attention, time, and money. And I mention that because I realize that your time is precious. So thanks for joining us today. And for all of you regulars that are with us every week, it fuels us and keeps us going. So thank you. I mentioned last week with a very awkward opening when yours truly couldn't even get into our Zoom account. So we started, John, 8 minutes late last week because I got shut out. Our first major technology glitch, somewhat ironic. And that was last week. And, you know, John Harms is part of a new series that we're going to be doing. And we'll probably be doing some that are separate from the weekly roundtable and just post them on YouTube. But I've become really, really curious about technology and beauty. And it's really a very, very big topic. And the best way to learn about it is to be super curious and to find the people in that space and just talk to him. Last week, we had Jason Fascio from Element, a salon owner, as well as Josh Howard, the Vish CEO, talking about technology and hair color and some trends. It was great. And then this week, we have John Harms from Mevo, Millennium Systems. I will have John speak to his company name, et cetera. I've known John for many years. The guy has incredible integrity. He's done many things for the beauty industry. And it's great to have John today. So we'll bring him on in a minute. We'll be welcoming John to our esteemed Brain Trust, our growing Brain Trust. In fact, we need to keep adding tiles each week. And this is an amazing group of individuals that have shared their time and their wisdom with us. And John will be added to the Brain Trust. So we hope you have some light bulb moments today and that some dots connect. You should have gotten a 9 grid with your invite that'll help you to capture your own light bulb moments. Remember, the 9 grid is a visual thinking tool that can be used in a variety of formats. On a lighter note, news of the weird. Here we have a town in Peru where people settle grudges from the past year by fist fighting, then they go drink. You know, to me, we're moving into the end of the year and many of us want closure. And as we move into the end of the year, let's talk finances just for a moment here. So here we are on the 8th of December, and before we know it, it'll be the end of the year and there'll be an expiration of certain activities that needs to be looked at consciously by owners. There's this common dilemma that we all know about from a P&L standpoint. On one hand, we want low profit, meaning low tax. On the other hand, in certain cases, we want high profits for banking. And so first and foremost, certainly make sure that you arrange a meeting, if you haven't already, with a tax advisor so that you do year-end tax planning. The reason why I'm bringing up that need to maybe have a higher profit, I was actually on a call with a bank in the SBA last week with a client. That client actually is with us today. Thanks for joining us. And basically what the SBA said, and this is an individual that's looking for financing to buy her business. And the SBA really needed to look at a complete, they need to look at a tax return. And the tax return that they will look at is 2020, which isn't going to look good. The 2021 tax return, as well as the 2021 financial performance, to a great degree, will determine the bankability if somebody's looking for financings. So anyway, make that conscious decision. Where do you want your profit number to be at the end of the year? You do have some discretionary spends that can make. You can prepay certain things if you're cash basis. So just a little nudge, make sure you don't go into the end of the year without some planning. Save the dates. We're going to be talking about this all the time. On May 15th, we're going to be celebrating 2 years of light bulb moments. We're going to be inviting all of you, our brain trust. We're going to be awarding the Golden Light Bulb Award, might be Golden Light Bulb Awards. And it's going to be in Scottsdale, part of another event that will be a new annual event that we will refer to as the Phil. So these will be in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to be opening up enrollment very soon. We'd love to see as many of you there as possible. There's going to be very, very unique experiences at this opportunity to gather to help fill your bucket as well as fill the gaps in your business. And these gaps really are the difference between your current reality and your potential. We have a very growth-minded group that joins us each week, and this is a session to be part of. Also, Beauty Changes Lives. We're still looking for a few mentors. Somebody reached out to me last week, which was awesome. If you're interested in being a mentor and being part of Beauty Changes Lives, but not necessarily having a huge time commitment, why don't you reach out to me and I'll put you in touch. All right. Anyway, John, we can take you off mic here. And how are you this morning?
I'm well. Happy to be here.
You've already been to the gym this morning.
Yeah. You called me before, and I'm like, hey, believe it or not, I'm at the gym. Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm getting older. I gotta stay on top of my game. So I dropped my and as an older guy, I actually have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I'm just, who says you got to do it in a certain order, right? So I drop my 4-year-old off at preschool, and I go to the gym, and then I start my day between 9:30 and 9:45 typically.
A day in the life of John Harms. And I'm going to echo the health. I mean, it's really top of mind for many of us. Take care of yourself, exercise, eat right. I know I sound like I'm preaching here, but oh my gosh, the health issues we're hearing about these days. So I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. And for the group here, John and I actually prepped before this morning. So even though it wouldn't be unusual for us to have a prep call the day of, it was a little icing on the cake. So John, let me just describe you as I know you, and then you can amplify. You've been in the professional beauty industry since the 90s. You said beauty found you when you were 17 years old. You've been in the beauty industry 35 years. You have a company. I'll let you distinguish between the name Millennium and Mevo. Why the name Mevo? And you touch a lot of individuals. You have, I'll let you say how many people are on your platform. Sure. And I got several different topics, but in your own words, describe a little bit, first of all, the name and a little bit more about John Harms.
Sure. So I actually started a little earlier. People always wonder like how I got into the beauty industry, right? And were you a stylist? No, my sister was a stylist. I was a coder, programmer at 16 and 17 years old. I had taught myself to code, and I worked for a company called Services for Product Development. Well, the owner went across the street to the hair salon in Tannersville, Pennsylvania, called the Village Salon, and said, there's this kid over there writing software, automation software for us. It's amazing. They're like, well, we need something in the beauty industry. I'd love to meet him. And so that's the only luck I've ever had. Everything else has been hard work. So I'm lucky that the industry found me because I fell in love with the industry, and it's been 35 years and I love it. To answer the question of, I get that a lot. Well, the company's Millennium. It used to be Harms Software. And about 8 years ago, I realized this is so much bigger than me. I only wanted up to 30 employees. Next thing you know, I have 100, then I have 150. Now I have 230. So I said, this really needs to change. It's not about me. It's about what we're doing and who we're doing it for. So we changed the company to Millennium Systems International. And then our product was Millennium, which was our installed product. But when we went to the cloud, we wanted to change the name. We wanted it to be a name, like if you type Millennium, you actually get 2 million hits on Google. So I'm like, well, let's come up with a word that's not a word that, will be meaningful. So we kept thinking about it, and the original name that somebody came up with was Millennium Evolution. I'm like, wow, could that be any longer? What do you use? I use Millennium Evolution. So what we did is collapse the EVO of evolution down on part of Millennium, and there's Mevo. So people are like, where'd you come up with Mevo? It's Millennium Evolution crushed down into a word that's not a word. So when you type Mevo, MEEVO, pretty much we're what shows up, unless our competitors take ads out using our name, but that's all fun.
Awesome. And you know, my wife, I was like standing in the kitchen before I was getting started on my day here, and I said, another roundtable, week number 67. She said, well, who's your guest? And I said, John Harms. She says, how do you know these people? And John, you know a lot of people, I know a lot of people, and the relationships is really what make me tick. And I know that's the type of guy you are. You've really built some amazing relationships. And
we've known each other since the late 90s, 97, I would guess. Yeah.
A long time, yes. And we have great teams, each of us. And I think both of us are very proud of our teams. So I'm not going to go in any particular order, but there's several things that just jumped out at me when we spoke yesterday. We had a prep call, or Monday. And then I've been sleeping on this the last couple of days. So my first question is, what keeps you up at night? You had an interesting answer.
What keeps me up at night? You know,
you talked about cloud.
Yeah. So what happens is when you go to the cloud, you know, back when everybody listening had their own servers, right? And it was in your office. If you had a problem, if something went wrong, you just went back there and you restarted your server, you did whatever, but you didn't affect the salon down the street, the salon in Colorado, the salon in Texas. I'm naming the places that I've been seeing people say, hey, here from Colorado, here from Texas. So calling you out. I was watching the chat. So what keeps me up at night is, and the way I described it to you, Tom, was having a cloud software company is like driving a car down the road, but now you need to change the oil, you need to change the tires, but you can't stop. You can't say, time out, everybody, we're just going to bring the server, the 500 servers that run the Mevo environment down for a couple of days. That's not what happens. So what keeps me up at night is really pushing my team and investing in the tools that monitor that cloud and keep it up and keep it fast. And the other thing that keeps me up at night is, you know, you brought this up this morning because you were surprised that I'll let you bring it up because you wanted to bring it up. But, you know, I just love interacting with my clients, and anybody that knows me knows that those aren't just words. So my passion and what I love most about the company is working with my staff and educating, but really working with the clients out there and helping them grow and listening to them, because they really help me decide what's next in the software. So yeah, there you go. That's what you wanted to bring up.
So I totally get that. You know, what keeps people up at night is very relative, you know, and I think that's an important point. As somebody that's in the world of technology today, you live and die by the cloud, and I can only imagine. Now, last night, right before bed, or sometime, you know, last night, I can't remember when, I was scrolling along, and all of a sudden this Mevo 2 popped up. I subscribed into your private group, whatever, but it like popped up, and I'm like, oh, well, that's ironic. Maybe John's got such artificial intelligence that he knows he's my guest. So anyway, but I happened to scroll down and look at the comments, and I saw one comment. I thought, oh, John's personally responding to that comment. I thought, okay, all right. I looked at another one. John's personally responding to those comments. And I kept scrolling down. It's like, John. I said, so I asked you this morning, it's a quick check-in. I said, hey, John, I was on this. Is that really you responding to these comments? So take that one away from me here.
Yeah, every single comment is me. And if you really dig in there, you're going to see Sunday night, 11:30 p.m., you know, Saturday morning, 7 a.m. To me, you know, I have to be careful because you know,
you're setting an expectation.
I'm a great dad and I'm a great husband, but there are times where she's like, put that thing down, because I become like, I just want to help all the time. And the average turnaround time on a question is under 5 minutes, whether it's me or my staff. But you know, what I told you this morning, I'll say now, is I do it because I love it, and I want to make sure. There's nothing more frustrating to a salon to need help and it not be there. And especially if it's something they know is probably simple, but they can't find it. And I can just go boom, boom, boom. And they're like, oh, there it is. Thank God I have payroll. I'm trying to finish payroll and it's a Saturday night. And it gives me great satisfaction. But the truth is, it also shows my team by leading by example. When I say the customers first, the customers first. And now it's become kind of a fun thing. I have almost 100 support texts. It's become a fun thing where when they beat me to it, they're like, in a private Teams thread for our company, they're like, I beat John to a question. You know what I mean? It's like, and I love that because they realize how important that is.
So I'm going to throw a question out to the group, and I would love to get some chat. And so, John, you have people that can do this for you. They can respond. But it's one of these details that's important to you. And, for me in my business, there's certain areas that I get into that other people can do, but I feel very connected when I'm involved, like, for example, tool development and what have you. So my question to the group is, what areas of your business are you not delegating? And you're not delegating for a very good reason. In John's case, it keeps him connected to his customers. It gives him that personal touch. So I'm interested to see if anybody else has parts of their business that they can delegate, but they still do themselves, and why. So, all right, we'll see what comes back on that in a minute.
And along those lines, Tom, I'm just going to jump in. And I know where you're going with it, because there's certain things that are just that important, right? And I'm great at delegating. I have such a great executive team, mid-level and first-level management team, that I'm the type of CEO, I'm hardly ever in the weeds until I am. And when I am, it's usually around a client, around a piece of the software that matters, your tool development, right? The same thing is, I want to get my nose in there and see how they're designing that screen, But other than that, I mean, the finance people, the sales people, marketing, I get involved in a little bit to make sure our brand's right. But in general, people are like, oh my God, he's hardly in our business. So it's really choosing those things that matter the most and that you're passionate about. I've been doing this 35 years, like you, Tom. We got to do what we enjoy. And there's people that can do the things we don't enjoy probably better than us.
Candace, thank you. In the case of Candace Galeotto, she's a salon owner in the Bay Area, and she's also a Qnity coach and educator, and she gets up early. Thanks for getting up early, Candace. She said for her, it's weekly newsletter to the team. I'll do it until I retire. Sue Ahrens, I think you know Sue Ahrens from Studio B. People, recruiting, onboarding, staff development, people. Okay, there's some other things going on in the chat. John, let's get into trends for a moment here. Let's see one other thing. I do not delegate QuickBooks and check writing, product ordering, interviewing, and hiring. These are some great responses. Keep them coming. I
still sign every check. Every check out of Millennium is signed by me. Although we have 250 employees now or whatever. So I don't sign every paycheck, that's automated, but I sign every check still. So I'm still a little bit of a control freak.
All right, you mentioned 250 employees. All right, yeah. And I'm going to slip in a question. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I got other stuff I want to get to, but I'm curious as a cat. 250 employees, and there's major things going on in the workforce today. Are you having the same kind of challenges other companies are for finding team members?
Luckily, no.
Okay. And are you keeping your team? I mean, you've got that.
I kept, through COVID, we grew 30 people.
Wow.
We had 220, we have 250 now. So we kept everybody through COVID. I'm proud of that. I would call it on some of the entry level stuff, especially when they were giving away free money. It's hard to get a $40,000 person at that point. But obviously I'm a software company, a tech company, I pay pretty substantial salaries. So those are the people that, weren't sitting, willing to stay home and get their, whatever the check was. But it is a big issue. I mean, I whether that be a Taco Bell, I like bean burritos, judge me later. But the lines are forever. So I said something to the person, because I've been going there for years, and he's like, well, there's only 2 of us here. We can't find help. We even give $500 bonuses. So it's a real issue. It's an absolutely real issue.
All right, let's get to data and trends in the professional beauty industry. First of all, salon closures. And there's not one place in the universe that we can go to and say, this is how many salons closed during COVID. But we can come up with some reasonable estimates. What is your estimate of salon closures that's happened? You define the time frame. Maybe it's since March of 2020 to present. What would be your estimate of salon closures?
I would say 20%. And I'm basing that on data that we have, our own clients. We track every reason somebody stops using Mevo and business closure, and breaks my heart every time I would get my monthly report. I'd see 20, 30. Now, again, we have over 15,000 clients, locations using us, over 150,000 stylists around the world log into Mevo every day, 150,000. So it's a big universe, but yeah, my experience was, I would say anywhere from 18 to 20%. So almost 1 in 5.
That's
Typically the smaller ones.
That is a staggering number. And I've heard some estimates thrown out, but we haven't really discussed it on this roundtable. And I have very mixed feelings about this. The first piece is my heart does go out to these entrepreneurs that closed a chapter, and especially if it was a very negative outcome for them. The more positive aspect is I always thought there was too many salons. Most salons are running at about 25% capacity, and it isn't like we need more salons. We just need better salons, with more team members, et cetera. And in many cases, those salon closures were a very positive thing where someone moved on to what's next, but it's a staggering number. Let's get to other trends that you're seeing from a growth standpoint. For example, client count compared to average ticket.
Yeah.
And we should sort of qualify, where you're estimating and where you've got some data behind it, and you can reveal what you want. So.
Sure. I'm like the kid in the candy store, Tom. I'm like you in like your wildest dreams, meaning like I literally have terabytes, hundreds of millions of rows of data that I can mine anonymously and just say, what's the average ticket? What was it in March of 2020? What is it now? And so, I mean, man, you want to see me in a happy moment is I spend a couple hours with the DBAs, the database guys, and say, hey, tell me this, tell me this, tell me that. So everything I'll talk to you about now is factual based on data. And so what we've seen is average tickets have gone up. That when people came back, they were excited to be back. They probably needed some extra conditioning treatment, a little extra, whatever, maybe a double process versus whatever. So, so average ticket did go up. But so what worried me, and I had a feeling this was going to happen, is people kind of get, I use the term fat and happy, like, hey, wow, look at this. We opened up and we're just killing it this month. And now we're killing it the following month. But then the third month, it's like, then the fourth month, the fifth month, what's going on? And so what's happening is frequency of visit is down. So what we need to do as a company and as in the industry is we got to kind of retrain our clients about frequency. They're on Zooms like this. Maybe it's not easy to tell that my gray is really coming in there, right? So I might wait 2 months for gray blending instead of 4 weeks. I don't do that anymore. I used to, though, and I just, what am I fighting here? So I'm 52 years old, so just let it happen. But I think we've been preaching this forever, Tom, and it almost seems like, oh my God, they're going to talk about this again. But please understand the reason we're talking about it again is it's a 15 to 20% lift in your business easily, and it's rebooking. It's a culture around rebooking that client and getting them in one more time a year. Because if the industry average is 5 times a year, one more visit is 20% of 5. So that's the main stuff we're seeing. We also are seeing, I can tell you guys, I did this the other day, the average number of new clients per month in the industry has gone from 85 to 100 in the last year. So the number of new clients you're seeing has gone up on average 15 per month. Why? If I'm right, 15 to 20% of salons that close, people need to find a new home. So you have opportunity, but then we could go on a whole nother angle and class, Tom, on new client retention, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I found something this morning, a video I did in it was May 20th of 2020. And we talked about average ticket. is really the key to getting back to your numbers, and also how many people could start hitting their pre-pandemic numbers, even with a lower client count, so certainly ways to increase client count, with the major piece addressing frequency of visit, I think is a good hit ourselves over the head with that.
Because you got loyal clients that are coming in. They're the easiest people. Just get them back one more time or a little sooner. It's much easier than, hey, let's try to get another 20 clients, right?
Yeah. And average ticket will continue to go up because people are raising their prices. We're in an inflationary economy. Salons are sort of in the bottom of the list in terms of where they are in raising their pricing. We talked about that like 3 weeks ago. All right. What other data and trends are you seeing in pro beauty that might be relevant for our audience today?
People, it's funny because we were the first to come out with mobile solutions in 1999, then 2002. I mean, anybody remember a Palm Pilot? I thought, oh, the beauty industry is going to love this. So we invest millions of dollars, and nobody cared about the Palm Pilot. Then the Microsoft came out with a little phone that you could actually have a little pen and you could do some stuff mobilely. And I'm like, oh God, they're going to love this. And nobody bought it. So then this thing called an iPhone came out. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Well, I missed the boat on that one. So really, I'm giving you a quick history to say what has changed. The industry has really embraced technology. It's almost crazy. You had Josh from Vish on last week. Well, he integrates to Mevo. So we can actually have a Mevo client integrate to their color system. And so what's happening is people went from, I don't even want to use the appointment book, or I'm not going to use online booking ever, to, hey, what else can I integrate to? Integrate me to QuickBooks, integrate me to ADP, integrate me to Vish, integrate me to this and that. And so the industry has gone from like non-technology to wanting everything. And quite frankly, the most important thing that I think is relevant to you and I is they want their data in real time on their phone. And so obviously that's a big thing with our company, is being mobile first and being able to get KPIs and everything right there on their phone. So it's changed a lot in that people have just embraced technology. They realize, and why? Because their clients are expecting them to embrace technology.
I'm going to get to the subject of technology adoption in a moment here, but you and I discussed what's going on in beauty tech these days, the money that's coming in. I discussed it last week, and let me just share some information again with the group. One company that's in the very similar space that John's in, we call it point of sale / scheduling, had 240 million come in with a total of 330 million of outside money coming into one of these companies. Another company, 38 million. Two other companies in the space you're in had press releases showing $1 billion valuation. 5-6 years ago, it was Millennium, Salon Biz, STX, Rosie. It was a hand. So there's been an explosion. So this is a two-part question. Question number one is, why is all this money coming into beauty from technology? And number two, you're kind of the little guy here. And when I say the little guy, you have 250 people. I mean, you've got a really nice business, but here you are. I would almost call you, it might be fair to call you like last one standing in terms of the original principles of some of these companies. So first part of the question is, why is so much money coming into pro beauty from technology companies?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's $1 billion valuations left and right. And a lot of these companies are coming from foreign places, India, Russia,
Ireland.
Yeah. So, which is fine. As long as they're focused on the beauty industry and care about the industry the way I do. I'm not going to name names. If there are some that have come from other industries, they make a couple tweaks and say now they're beauty industry, get a huge valuation, because health and wellness is where it's at. Why? So let me answer your question. If you think about even COVID, right? Yeah, we lost a lot of salons, but the minute it opened, they were right back, right? So probably the oldest industry in the world is probably beauty. and it's just not going away. And the other thing is, it's predictable revenues. Like, people are spending a lot of money on products, a lot of money on their services, and always have, and it continues to grow. It's statistically true that people are continuing to spend more. As a matter of fact, the younger people probably, with the eyelashes and everything else, every 2 weeks, whatever that costs, it's a big part of their budget is, I need to look beautiful on my Instagram post. So the outside venture capitalists have realized that, and they came into our industry. I've been proud to stay the last man standing for a long time. I love the David and Goliath story. I mean, I will tell you, Millennium has kicked many Goliath's ass in the last 10 years. I promise you that. Because you know what? You can come in and act like you know, but if you don't really know and you don't listen, you're just copying Millennium. And I'm just being really kind of honest, in my opinion, of what's going on. And actually, I've heard it from some major competitors, like, we use Millennium as our R&D. So I take that as flattering, but at the same time, I'm competitive, and I know that I care about the industry and I want to win. So what we announced a couple months ago in a press release is, we actually did take on an investor a few months ago in September. I didn't make a big deal about it. I didn't do the big announcements that everybody else did to puff their chest, because that's not who I am. And anybody in the industry knows that's not who I am. I took a minority investor. So I'm still the majority owner. I make the decisions, although we have a board of really smart people now. And why did I do that? I did that because I know that the industry is changing. If I want to combat these people that are coming from India and everywhere else and have terrible customer service, and in my opinion, don't have the best view of the industry in their mind, like, it's time. Like, I really take it personally. So I basically built Mevo 2. I'll tell you the number: $45 million. Every dime I had made in the last.
Wait. $45 million to develop Mevo 2?
Mevo 2 over a 4-year period was $44.5 million. And that was every dime I had ever. So obviously, you make money in software over 35 years. Every dime I had, I sunk back into my company. And this is over the last few years. So people are like, well, why didn't you take an investor then? Because I knew that I needed control to do this right. And now that we got Mevo 2 really going where it needs to go, then I brought in the investor to combat these monsters coming in, and also to short circuit some of the stuff that we want to do. I always took baby steps. So when you bring on an investor, they bring in a lot of smart people too that have been there and done that outside the industry. So to me, I finally gave in. We have a major investor in Millennium. I am still in control. You just saw last night me answering questions on our chat and our help. I will never change. If anybody on here sees me, John Harm sells Mevo, a Millennium, for $1 billion, whatever, and you see me on the street, I'll be the same person I've always been. To me, that's not why I'm doing what I do. So I did do it. There is a lot of money coming in because the investors see the potential. But I did it because I really want to do some things to fix what's broken. And one of the things I'll give a hint on that's broken, and I'm telling you, I don't care whose software you use, of the people listening right now, credit card processing is an issue, them screwing around with the rates, them with horrible, horrible customer service. So one of the things I'm doing with that money is really investing into how do I fix the processing part, because I can be the best company in the world, and then when they have problems with their credit cards and a client standing in front of them, or they try to name the company, because I think they're all almost the same, and you don't get the customer service you get at Millennium. So how do I combat that? I take it over. So that's one of the things that we're excited about.
So let's get into the subject of technology adoption, because the features that are available, for example, in your platform and your competitors, as well as some other, I don't know, it's probably not the right word, but sort of specialty type technology companies like Reach and Vish and Canvas Me, Tippy, et cetera.
We integrate to all of those.
But technology adoption for busy owners and managers, they already have enough on their plate. And many think that technology adoption in the beauty industry is slow to really optimize the features. Stay away from your product, but just in general, what do you recommend in terms of people getting better at technology adoption?
So here's my feeling on adoption, believe it or not. I am not the first to just jump on the next technology that comes out. People would think I am because I'm a technologist. But what I have found is, regardless of what software people are using, they use 10% of it, 20% of it. I think everybody on here would probably like, guilty. I ring up sales, I book appointments, I know my key reports, but I'm not using this, 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 and this. You know how many times we've told people that we have an integration to, name it, Vish, or we have an integration to whatever, and they're like, oh wow, really? We have a thing called Amiibo Exchange, which is Amiibo store you can go into, and there it is. So to answer your question, I think that sometimes people jump too quickly, and then sometimes they forget what they have right in front of them that they should be utilizing to really grow their business, because some of this stuff is passing trends. So I tend to sit back, even with Vish. They wanted us to integrate with them a year and a half ago. I sat back and said, let me make sure this is right. I did decide that it was right, and now we have an integration of them. So I tend to hold back because it's my name on there. And then, with that integration, and if it doesn't go well, then it's a bad look on me. So, but there is a lot of technology.
I'm gonna jump in a little bit further on technology adoption here. So within a salon, normally falls upon a manager and owner. Do you find salons that really have someone that is specifically involved in technology? I mean, have you seen that? It's like this person is responsible for managing all of our technologies. Certainly in a single location operation, that's everybody's wearing all these other hats, but are there best practices from a inside a salon company, those that go fast with technology and also do it right? Have you seen any best practices from an organizational chart standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, the best implementations and onboardings we have are when they really do assign a manager or the main front desk person to kind of own it. The frustrating thing from our perspective can be, or any software company's perspective, is they make a commitment, but then they realize, wow, to change software, to implement the software takes effort and work and focus. And so the best ones are when they assign someone, whether that's the manager or that front desk person or somebody owns it. That's so important. What's so hard for us, the next side, Tom, is when the salon owner who's behind the chair decides they're going to be the point person. And that becomes a disaster, right? Because they're so busy. But best practice would be that they assign somebody at the front desk, or if they have a manager, they're big enough to have a manager, that they kind of own that.
All right, we've got some comments and questions. Sue Aarons, good morning, Sue. Stylists resist change and fear technology. I think it takes too long to learn. It's a struggle. Great comment. John, Ralph had a question, has to do with what market is it, salon or individuals? You can answer that offline. Melissa said, yes, amen, about the credit card processing. Michelle posted a link to the video I did last year ago. Khan said the things that she doesn't want to let go of is QuickBooks, check writing, final hiring decisions. That's a great one. Coaching the leadership team. Let's see here. James, good morning, James. He personally goes to the schools for recruiting, brings staff along, so on and so forth. So, and I think you might have some other questions that are in here.
There was one about multi-location. Yeah, we are multi-location. We have all the massage enemies in the United States use us, a lot of other big chains. So yeah, it's multi-location.
All right, John, let me see. I think I asked my main questions for you today. And let me just see if there's anything else that I think is relevant to the group. All of this has been really relevant, and I so appreciate you being involved here today and your commitment to the industry and everything else. So yeah, do you have any final words on your end, or is the question I didn't ask you that I should have asked you?
No, this has been great. I love conversational and stuff. And I mean, Tom, you and I could have done no prep, just jumped on here live and done the same thing we did. I think it's easy to talk when you're both focused on, really trying to help salons and spas grow. And I truly am passionate about it. And I think I mentioned what kept me up at night. I know what keeps salon owners up at night, and it's retaining clients and retaining employees. So everything you guys are doing, I appreciate. You know, I know my spot in the industry, and I know that I am not Tom Kuhn. I am not, Kuhn. I'm not, I never try to be that inventory guy, the things that I'm not. So I appreciate everything that Qnity does, and appreciate being on here and working with you. And then looking forward to the technology stuff that we'll be doing together in the coming weeks.
Sounds great, John. Thank you for all your light bulb moments here. And I'd like to award to you the official designation into our brain trust, the $1 Million light bulb. By the way, if any of you have received your light bulb, because we did start sending out the light bulbs, maybe it was a week ago, put a comment in the chat, because many of you that have been part of our brain trust, if you haven't gotten your light bulb yet, you will be getting it very soon. And let me do this. Let me have everybody give John a virtual round of applause. Thank you, John. If you can hear that clapping coming your way. And then if anybody has any more comments for John, put it down in the chat. So John, thanks for joining us. So you can hang around if you want. Otherwise, you can exit stage left. John's going to be joining us next week with the schools. And we've got another roundtable today at noon Central Time. So that's about an hour and a quarter. And that's going to be with Kevin Cameron from Pivot Point, an awesome session about moments of joy. And Kevin will be our guest next week on the Salon Roundtable. So anyway, but let me see who's out there today. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to see who's here with us. Hello, Allison. Good morning. Amanda, hope you're doing well. Ann, good to see you here. Good morning, Anna. Thanks for joining us so early. Hi, Ashley from Oklahoma. Candace G, Candace H, Casey, good morning. Cheyenne from New Mexico. Connie, how are you, Connie? And Dawn, hi, Dawn, James, Jennifer, Joe, John, Karen, Carrie, Con. I'm going to mess up this name. Lacrisha. I'm terrible with pronunciations, but thanks for joining us anyway. Linda, Lisa, Louisa, and Mark Gonzalez. Hey, Mark, Melissa G, Melissa K, Michelle S, Philip, Ralph. Ralph, I think you had a question. I'll pass that on to John. Sam Burkata, your name came up yesterday. Sam, hope you're doing well today in New York. Sam J, Scott Schneiderman joined us. Hey, Steve Reese, Sue Aarons, Tara, Terry, Tina, Vanessa, and Vanessa. So anyway, an all-star group as usual joining us. I love it. Thanks for joining us. Let me see what else I have for you guys before we wrap up. I had something that I was looking for, so I got out of sequence here. So all right, so this will be recorded and posted on YouTube, this session, as our other ones are. We have awarded John the $1 Million light bulb. We do have a second roundtable today coming up in an hour and a quarter. And we hope you had some light bulb moments today. And one light bulb moment is get your calendar out. John, get your calendar out and mark these days. It'll be May 16th and 17th will be the fill. And on Sunday night, May 15th, you won't want to miss this. Will be a celebration of 2 years of light bulb moments, of which John will be honored during that, as well as many other people that have participated. Closing thoughts. I've used this one before, but I'm going to use it again. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot. So thanks to John for joining us. Let me see if there's any final comments I need to read. And we are good to go. So we'll see you guys next week. Then I believe we are off for the holidays. Michelle, put that in the chat, if you will, just real quick from a scheduling standpoint. We are on next week, but are we on where it looks like we're off the 22nd. So, all right. So we're off the 22nd and the 29th. Guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks again to John Harms, and thanks to all of you for spending your precious attention and time with us today. Have a good rest of the week. Bye.